What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are out on a river, not in our state, and we are testing out the Garmin Force Current. You guys saw this. Saw that fancy thing right there over at iCast, and we also have the wireless foot pedals. Now, a lot of y'all were asking, you got questions. You're like, first of all, why is it so expensive? I can't answer that question other than it's new tech. It will maybe get more affordable in the future. Who knows? But it is really cool technology. So a couple things I want to call out. First of all, the cost. Everyone is saying it's very expensive, and it is very expensive.
It do be.
That's not a lie.
$36.99 with the pedals, $3,000 without the pedals.
However, that being said, alternatively, also all those words,
cool as heck.
It's doing the job of two motors, and it's doing both jobs very well. So it's a spot lock enabled. There's called anchor lock, but it's a spot lock enabled trolling motor. But it's also a powerful stern mount motor. Another thing that I think is really nice is that it takes a 12-volt battery or a 24-volt battery. The 24 gives you a little more power. The 12 gives you a lot of efficiency, and I mean a lot. So it also means that maybe if you already have a battery, you don't need to buy one, and that can save you another $500-600 off the total package. If you were to buy a trolling motor and a stern mount motor and two batteries and wiring kits and all that, you'd be over $4,000 for sure, no question. So it is an opportunity to save money and do two things at once. Still expensive, we hear you. And then some of the other questions we got: does it hold in current? Does it hold anchor lock or spot lock? Does it hold it in current very well? We are going to test that out today. What is the max speed and power? We're going to test that out today too. How does it handle in the river? We'll test that out today too. Those are the big questions that we got, and those are the questions we'll look to answer in this video. Another question is, how do the foot pedals work versus the remote in the river, just in general, like as a compared to a stern mount motor like a Newport NK180 or 300 Pro, or your Torqeedos, the 1103 and those models as well. So those are all the questions we will look to answer in this video today. We'll also look to catch some fish, have some fun, come back, recap, and give you our thoughts on the Garmin Force Current. Let's go fishing. Let's go.
This is wild. I cannot believe how much power this thing puts out, and I'm still only going 1.9 miles an hour. This is insane. This river is hustling. This probably looks like nothing is going on. I'm puckered up, bro. This current is freaking strong. Definitely nerve-wracking. I feel like I'm steering, just like moving my hips just barely, a little bit at a time. And with the remote, if I used the foot steering, I probably would have crashed at this point. It's so sensitive. It would have been a problem. This is crazy. We're gonna make it through, but yo, no small task.
What I want to show you guys here is how easy it is to control, even with the remote. Forget the foot steering. If you're uncomfortable with the foot steering or you didn't want to pay for it, you can just tap this button left and right and get a really fine amount of control out of this motor at all times. It's just sitting on my knee, push a little button, shift a little left, shift a little right, speed up, speed down. It's crazy the control you have, even when you're just using the remote like this. I'm talking about with the foot steering. So I was messing around with the remote, I reached down, and then boom, I accidentally, just because I reached forward, I accidentally tapped the pedal. When you tap that pedal, you're rocketing the wrong direction. It is very startling, especially in like a thinner, lighter kayak. Like, you really have to watch out for this. This scared the crap out of me.
Whew. Didn't lose anything. Got lucky.
So right here, I kind of pulled over. There was this really deep spot that had a really strong, forceful current. And I was like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to give the people what they want. You guys wanted to see how it handles in current. How does that anchor lock work in the current? So I pulled up the anchor, used my foot pedals, and I'm basically gonna nose right into the strongest part of the river. Other than the rapids at the top of our put-in, this was the strongest current that we had the entire stretch that we fished. And I'm like, dude, this is the perfect place to test this bad boy out. So rocketed in there, pulled in, and basically picked a spot and said, all right, I get a landmark. There was a big gray like slate rock that I was able to see, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull up right next to it. This will tell tell me after I hit spot lock whether or not I'm actually holding in place or not. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, I got a rock that I'm supposed to be on. Okay. It's got me here. No chain, nothing. Oh yeah, it's holding me. Holy crap. I'm gonna give this a couple minutes. I don't want to waste my battery for no reason, but let's see how long it can hold me here in this in the rapids. Right here, what you're gonna see, you can see the front of my kayak is swinging out towards the shore. That's what's gonna happen when you're anchored in the rear of your kayak and the current's pushing against you. You're gonna swing left and right. So unless you're using that front anchor chain that you drop, you're going to swing back and forth. Like, that's part of the game. But it's holding me in my spot and it's working super, super well. So like, I was impressed. So this is actually my favorite use case for the Force Current. So I'm facing upstream. This by the way is 2x speed, so it's flying right now. But yeah, I'm facing upstream. I'm casting at some really specific spots. And what I'm doing is I'm using my foot pedals to get perfect boat positioning. So like just very slight shifts left and right. And you can see right here, I'm starting to turn. There's a trench on my left. And I'm casting right into it. I'm trying to dodge the grass. And you can see I'm not doing anything. It's actually really natural to use the forward toes, like just push your toes forward and left, or I'm sorry, forward and back. And you can see how easily like I'm just managing my boat positioning, even though I'm facing upstream. Like, this is pretty much unheard of if you are trying to paddle. Like, you're just not getting this done. And with a hand control, you're like, you don't have a hand on the rod. You can't do your retrieve. You can't fish. So this is where I feel like was an outstanding, absolutely the best use case for the foot steer. Crushed it here.
Wow, what a time we have had out on the water. It's been a blast. We learned a lot about the Garmin Force Current. So Paul, what were your thoughts overall on this thing?
At first, I will say this, like, when there is a ton of current and like a ton of power to the water, and you're trying to go upriver, the sensitivity, there's like a slight delay when you are trying to go forward and backwards or reverse, and that slight delay is enough to really put you in a bad spot and can make things really challenging. Now, I was able to do it this is the Crescent Smalley. This is the tippiest boat that I have, one of the tippiest kayaks that I've been in general, but it's also very nimble and fast and light. So it can surprise you, like, with a shuddering urgency when you kind of don't have these calibrated, and when you haven't like figured out how to like get them set up properly, and when the current's really strong, it can be a problem for you. So that was one of the biggest cons. Another con that you need to be aware of is when I put on spot lock, just by going like this, when I put on spot lock, it just did it. It's pulling me back to my spot in the current. One thing that you need to be aware of is that when you spot lock in the front of the motor, you're always kind of facing that direction, and people are used to seeing the motors work that way. When it's in the stern and behind you, you're going to go with the current. So you're actually facing downstream, which is not always ideal. Now, that's why I have the anchor wizard here in the front, which is an anchor that I can drop down. So if I want to face upstream and use spot lock, I simply face upstream, drop that down first, then hit the spot lock. And what that's going to do is basically keep me pointed wherever the anchor is. Super helpful. But if you don't have something like that, you may struggle facing the direction you want while you're using spot lock. Now, day 2 was a down river float instead of going up river. That's where the Smalley does really, really well. It paddles really well, handles well, and this was chef's kiss today. So I was able to very minutely control make adjustments to the motor using the foot pedals, and I had total boat control. Even during riffles and stuff, it's really easy to just pull this up, but I bashed the heck out of it on some big rocks, and I feel like durability wise, it is going to be extremely durable. It's crazy that my prop is not chipped. Like, after this entire stretch that we fished, all rock, and I hammered it a bunch of times while running and not running. So durability, I think, is going to be really, really good. Also, the spot lock in the current was pretty incredible. I think I pulled it up in the strongest current that we were in, and it held my position within a foot. And I think the biggest key is when you want to put it in that anchor lock, spot lock, do not rock it into it and then hit it. It's going to struggle. It's going to have a hard time pinpointing where you were. If you coast into it relatively slowly, then click the spot lock, you're not going to have a problem. And you won't go anywhere. It's it's pretty unbelievable.
You could even hit the brakes, so both heels down, like roll
Yep.
up on a spot, heel down, which is reverse,
Yep.
which stops you, tap spot lock.
Absolutely. So yeah, so like just like Jeff said, one of the biggest benefits of not just being able to control sort of like, I mean, you can control where the nose of the boat goes just by doing the foot pedals or the handle, like the remote, but when you pull up a spot too fast, like I actually just did it right up here at the end of the tournament, you pull up to a spot, you're like, a little too fast. Like Jeff said, put the heels down, engage them slowly, you'll back yourself off and basically stop. Boom, spot lock. You're going to be really happy. I think it worked really good. So let's speak to speed and power. Jeff is running the New Canoe Unlimited, the 12-foot version, a little more loaded down than my kayak is, as you can tell. And he has the NK 300.
Boom.
And that is sort of best in class power. I mean, it's probably tied with a larger size Torqeedo, but it really is best in class power. And
3 horsepower equivalent electric motor running on a 36-volt battery.
the big dog. And Jeff and I were both heading upstream in an insane amount of current on the first day.
Heavy flow.
Heavy flow. They were letting water in through the dam, and we were taking the brunt of it. This is the 24 volt, and I was going upstream a little, like 3 miles an hour, which is basically tied with the 300, which is pretty freaking wild. So torque-wise, very strong. Power-wise, pretty good. When I was going downriver, I was going 6. I think in the Smalley, which is not meant to go fast as far as boat and hull shape. It doesn't weigh much, but the hull shape is going to limit it before the weight will. And I was able to go about 5.5 on like a calm lake. So somewhere between 4.5 to 6 miles an hour is what you should expect when going full throttle with this kayak, depending on what sort of hull shape and the conditions and all that. So speed and power, I would say better than I expected, for sure. And then efficiency, I ran the absolute tar out of this. We was 6-7 hours fishing, maybe halfway. So I would overall, it's more efficient than it is powerful, and it's pretty dang powerful.
Let's see what our batteries are at, shall we? I'm at 72% after 9 hours, 8 hours of fishing.
Yep.
Been running the whole time, and then yours should be, I believe, 25%. Are we sure that's right? Rated capacity 50 amp hour. Yep, that's it. 24 volt, 50 amp hour.
That's 2 days of fishing, and we were going upstream. I ran it for almost 4 hours straight yesterday. Like
We've been
straight.
trolling with them too, like not even spot locking, just like facing upstream, and then running it slow. Right, that's what I was doing all day.
So that's 8 hours of fishing in heavy currents. We covered 7, probably 9 or 10 miles between the 2 days, roughly. It could be more, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And you did not charge yours last night.
No.
I did charge mine, so mine's at 72%. It started at 100% this morning.
Yep. So super efficient. I've been really happy with it. You have to get used to the foot pedals and be cautious if you're putting it on a thinner tip of your kayak. Like, make sure you get these things dialed before you start screwing around with them. I think positives, power, does 2 things very well. Very efficient, pretty dang fast. Really easy to mount because there's only one power cable. There's no steering cables. There's no nothing. You don't even need to buy the foot pedals. Like, this thing worked really, really good all on its own in the worst possible conditions for this kayak. So overall, I'm really impressed with it. I will say, when it comes to, if you can only get one, I would probably get the NK. If you can, it's going to be a little cheaper, and I think you're getting a heck of a lot out of it. But if you can afford this and you're getting 2 for 1, I would highly recommend that people do it, even if you're a heavy river fisherman. And if you're a lake fisherman, you're going to absolutely love this thing.
So there you guys go. That is the Garmin Force Current. Told you guys we'd put it to a test in the river. We have done that. Check. Done. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, we totally understand that it is very expensive, and it's not for everybody. So buy it or don't. But if you're in the market and you can afford this type of motor, we think it's really neat. And it's got a lot of pros, a lot of good stuff about it. So definitely consider checking it out. And thanks for checking out this video. We appreciate you guys. Be subscribed if you want to see more content like this, because we want to be a resource for you guys. We're gonna grab the stuff. We want to try every piece of equipment, lure, whatever, etc., in the fishing industry, and give you guys some reviews, some unbiased opinions and thoughts on all of those things, so you can decide if it's the right thing for you or not. Buy it or don't. At the end of the day, that's what we believe in. So smash that like, because we gotta leave. We'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.